Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has instructed the country's state-owned companies to immediately initiate exploration and exploitation of oil, gas, and minerals in Guyana's Essequibo region. This region is rich in oil and minerals and is the subject of territorial dispute, as Venezuela claiming it as its own. Maduro's directive adds a new dimension to the ongoing geopolitical tensions surrounding the Essequibo region. The announcement followed a day after Maduro achieved the desired victory in a weekend referendum on whether to assert sovereignty over the region. Maduro declared his intention to immediately issue operating licenses for the exploration and exploitation of oil, gas, and minerals across the entire Essequibo region. Additionally, he mandated the establishment of local subsidiaries for Venezuelan public companies, including the oil giant PDVSA and the mining conglomerate Corporación Venezolana de Guayana. Given Venezuela's existing challenges in extracting its own oil, engaging in complex offshore drilling requiring technological expertise, effective management, and substantial capital seems highly improbable. Maduro's move to address a century-old issue, coupled with oil resources, may be an attempt to bolster public confidence in his increasingly unpopular administration. However, the likelihood of this significantly impacting next year's election polls remains doubtful. The Maduro administration's method for asserting jurisdiction over the territory, once officially declared as part of Venezuela through an upcoming law to be discussed by the ruling party-controlled National Assembly, remains unclear. He also announced the appointment of Major General Alexis Rodriguez Cabello as the governor of Guyana's Essequibo region. Maduro's team has declared their intention to grant concessions in the Essequibo region, giving companies in the area a 3-month window. The Venezuelan president further stated that he had ordered the drafting of a law recognizing a new state, the Guayana Essequibo, where English-speaking residents would be provided with Venezuelan national ID cards. In videos shared on social media, Maduro unveiled an updated national map depicting an expanded Venezuela that incorporated the Essequibo region. He demanded swift distribution of the map in schools and universities, aiming to solidify the results of the referendum. He said, "I have immediately ordered for it to be published and taken to all schools, colleges, community councils, public establishments, universities, and in all homes in the country, the new map of Venezuela with our Guayana Essequibo. This is our dear map." In addition to the declaration regarding the exploitation of resources in Essequibo, Maduro announced the establishment of a new comprehensive defense operational zone for the disputed strip. This mirrors the special military commands responsible for operations in various regions of the country. The 159,500 square kilometer area constitutes 2/3 of Guyana. Nevertheless, Venezuela has consistently regarded Essequibo as part of its territory due to its inclusion within the boundaries during the Spanish colonial period. The dispute over the border stems from the 1899 decision by international arbitrators, a time when Guyana was still under British colonial rule. The roots of the dispute trace back to 1777 when the Captaincy General of Venezuela incorporated the 159,500 square kilometer region into the country's map. Notably, Venezuela did not occupy the territory during its time under the Spanish Empire or after gaining independence. In 1899, British Guiana successfully established limits in the Paris Arbitral Tribunal, a process later described as rigged. Fast forward to the present day, Domingo Hernandez Larez, the head of the Strategic Operational Command of the National Armed Forces, shared images on social media depicting Venezuelan soldiers providing healthcare to indigenous communities in the contested area. Additionally, he posted photos of trucks loaded with construction materials, accompanied by the message "Towards the Guyana Shield" in support of the integral development of the nation. Venezuela's dedication to pursuing the territorial claim has varied over the years. The interest resurged in 2015 when ExxonMobil revealed the discovery of commercially viable oil off the Essequibo coast. Guyana has condemned Venezuela's actions and the referendum as a pretext for annexing the land. In response, the country appealed to the International Court of Justice, the highest court of the United Nations, which issued an order instructing Venezuela not to alter the status quo until the panel can adjudicate on the competing claims of the two countries. This legal process could span several years. Guyana President Ali said, "I have spoken to the Secretary General of the United Nations and several leaders, alerting them to these dangerous developments and the desperate actions of President Maduro." He conveyed this message to the nation of 800,000, outlining Maduro's recent moves aimed at establishing a new Venezuelan state within Guyana. Guyana is also actively seeking support from the Caribbean political community, CARICOM, the United States, and other allies. President Ali highlighted that the matter is being brought before the UN Security Council. Simultaneously, efforts are underway to reassure investors who are apprehensive about the possibility of Maduro orchestrating a land grab. He said, "You have nothing to worry about when you invest in a country that governs itself in accordance with the rule of law, that stands on the side of democracy and understands what true freedom is." He emphasized that there is no cause for concern, as international partners and the global community are ready to offer their support. Ali expressed the hope that President Maduro and Venezuela would correct these missteps. Brazil, sharing borders with both Venezuela and Guyana, has voiced apprehension over the intensification of the territorial dispute. President Lula da Silva engaged in discussions with both Maduro and Ali, reinforcing military deployment on the border. The Ministry of Defense elevated the detachment in the state of Roraima from 70 to 130 uniformed personnel with a mission to guard and protect the national territory, as stated by the ministry. Following the Venezuelan referendum, Lula decided to dispatch approximately 20 armored vehicles to the triple border. Ambassador Gisela Padovan, Secretary for Latin America and the Caribbean at the Brazilian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, said, "We are following the situation with concern, but I don't think it's going to come to an armed confrontation." She expressed trust in Brazilian diplomacy and that of other neighboring countries to effectively deflate the process. Maduro's escalating rhetoric on Essequibo is viewed by analysts as an effort to divert attention from numerous domestic crises and garner support for the upcoming presidential elections anticipated in 2024. However, the intensification of regional tensions raises concerns that the president may not shy away from military action. In a further crackdown, Venezuela's Attorney General issued arrest warrants for 10 opposition leaders, including Juan Guaidó, Julio Borges, and Leopoldo López. The recent maneuvers to reclaim political control in anticipation of next year's elections might be a response to the low turnout in the referendum. While initially pledging not to invade Venezuela's eastern neighbor, Maduro's recent actions, including accusing ExxonMobil of colluding with Guyana and Venezuelan dissidents to destabilize the government, are causing growing concerns among regional leaders that annexation may indeed be a possibility.